Okay, so hello there. My name is Rol-J Williams, and as many of you would know, I'm a former Commonwealth Youth Parliamentarian, former Caribbean Junior Minister of Tourism, and I also consider myself to be a writer, having published many pieces relevant to politics, environment, inter alia, and most importantly, I'm a son of the Caribbean civilization. And what this is that it is a series of podcasts, of course, that I will publish on many different media in an attempt to enlighten you as to some of the issues that I find pertinent and relevant to many of the situations with which we are faced. And so, in this first podcast, I want to speak about education on the island of Nevis, and in particular, the Nevis Sixth Form College. As an alumnus of the Nevis Sixth Form College, having graduated in 2018, I also spent my 2 years there and obtained my associate's degree in natural science. I know what it is like to be a student in an institution that is limited and limiting. I know what it is like to be in an institution that many consider to be a tertiary institution, but is limited in that regard. And really, the name itself carries a misnomer, as you'll find out later on. For years, many people have complained of the Nevis Sixth Form College. In fact, I think it is only about 10 years ago, or even as recently as 5 years ago, petitions have been circulated wherein students wanted a relaxation of the rules that are enforced at the Nevis Sixth Form College, considering that it is supposed to be a tertiary institution, but it is treated more like an annex to a secondary school here on the island of Nevis. And so last week an issue arose, and before I do that, I want to preface it with the fact that in the summer of 2018, just last year, a petition was written and circulated, and the whole idea of the petition was to encourage or to coerce our Ministry of Education, our Ministry and Department of Education, and the Minister of Education to take decisive action to bring to fruition the realization of a Nevis Community College. The fact is, in 2019, it is inadequate for a college, in inverted commas of course, on the island of Nevis to be restricted to 3 classrooms, to be restricted to shared lab facilities, and for the administrative staff to be restricted to a to a closet that that really is dehumanizing for anyone to have to work in. And so that petition was circulated last year. The petition was largely ignored, and to this day it has not been addressed by the Ministry of Education or the Department of Education. And as a matter of fact, I think they're pretending to be ignorant to the issues that were highlighted in that particular petition. Last November, of course, during the graduation exercise of the Nevis Sixth Form College, the Minister of Education, in an attempt to allay fears, said that the ministry is actively looking at a portion of land at which they could, in the future, put a community college here on the island of Nevis. As I've had to say elsewhere, the minute you hear a politician telling you that they are looking at something, that will take at least 5 years for them to finish looking at that thing. It will then take them 10 years to realize what they've been looking at. And so at the end of it, you have an entire generation being largely ignored because of politicians looking into things that they have no business looking into. Now, there's an issue that is arising, and I will actually read a piece that I've posted on my social media accounts relevant to the Nevis Sixth Form College, which highlights the issues that are affecting the Nevis Sixth Form College and will affect them going forward from September. And I entitled the piece, "Nobody Wants to Fix the Nevis Sixth Form College Until Somebody's Child Can No Longer Receive the Education They Desire." And it goes something like this. In a yet to be published piece, I wrote that, quote, "If one were to be benevolent and inadvertently daft in one's choice of words when describing the Nevis Sixth Form College. One would call it a tertiary institution. In the present context and in the context of, say, the last 15 years of the institution, those who felt the need to attend that institution would realize that the name itself is a misnomer, a mask, a terrible attempt at making the institution out to be what it is not and can never be with its present physical and curricular structures. Sadly, today I've come across some information which can easily render my above statement as the statement of the decade. For many of those wishing to be educated at the post-secondary level on the island of Nevis, the only competitive facet of the education offered at the NSFC, the CXC Associate's degree, has become virtually unattainable. It was not an overnight decision, but yet our Department of Education and NSFC are unprepared for this change. In a revision of its policy in October 2018, CXC now mandates the attainment of 10 units for one to obtain their associate's degree, a change from 8. They have also changed the course-specific requirements for their degrees. Why is this so important? Based on the course structure of the NSFC, the clashes that naturally arise on the timetable will make the attainment of at least 5 units per year under the CXC approved stipulations difficult. Sociology clashes with biology, economics clashes with chemistry, and accounting clashes with physics, inter alia. With a timetable that is already packed from 9 a.m. to 3:20 p.m., will night classes now have to be offered at an institution that is short on staff and short on space? Simply put, no student can achieve 10 units under the current structure offered at the NSFC, considering that they adhere strictly to the conditions put by CXC and considering that they are not interested or inclined to teach themselves the courses. You see, years ago when I said in the Commonwealth Youth Parliament in Tortola that there is a pearl of wisdom that admonishes, nobody wants to fix the well until somebody child fall in, with its simple meaning being, be proactive, not reactive, no one listened. The situation reached its boiling point last summer when a petition was circulated. Even in the age of proliferated technology and the advent of the eccentric phenomenon known as social media governance, the petition was addressed by no one. How are the students of the NSFC to feel? Certainly, they would feel voiceless, useless, and shortchanged. And I think it is important to reinforce these words that ended that piece: voiceless, useless, and short-changed. And for the rest of this podcast, I will focus specifically on those words to reinforce the point that I have made and will continue to make. Voiceless. Petitions have been circulated at the Nevis Sixth Form College for decades. When there was a student government association at the Nevis Sixth Form College, a petition was circulated where they were encouraging the school to relax its rules on the length of hair that boys are allowed to have, jewelry, I think, and the uniform. It was a largely successful petition then, in the sense that it received overwhelming support on the ground. It was ignored by the administration of the school. Last year, a petition was written by the students of the Nevis Sixth Form College, circulated by the students of the Nevis Sixth Form College, supported by the students of the Nevis Sixth Form College. It was published on the internet. It was done in print. It was proliferated around the internet and around the various social media. Yet, the Ministry and Department of Education, and specifically the Minister of Education, never paid it any mind. That was before any of the issues mentioned before in the piece that I had written on my Facebook account had arisen. Fast forward just 1 year, And the issues that have arisen at the Nevis Sixth Form College now make it difficult for students to accomplish their associate's degree. It means then that basically going to the Nevis Sixth Form College will only be relevant if you're seeking just to gain the units in the particular subject areas. The associate's degree that carries weight at many universities in the Caribbean and the United States of America is no longer relevant or attainable. And the fact of the matter is, at the Clarence Fitzroy College in St. Kitts, they are an accredited institution of higher learning. So they have the ability to issue associate's degrees from the Clarence Fitzroy College. The Nevis Sixth Form College is an annex, essentially, of the Charleston Secondary School. And so it has no power or no ability or capability to issue associate's degrees. So its students will no longer be able to achieve associate's degrees, because if you look at the history of the Nevis Sixth Form College over the years, out of a graduating class of 50 students on average, only 3 or 4 achieved 10 units in 2 years that they were there. The vast majority achieved 8, 7, and 6. What are these students to do now when they realize that the education that they really desire without having to travel to St. Kitts is no longer within their reach? I said useless because it means that the Ministry of Education places no value on the students that are at the Nevis Sixth Form College. Because if they clearly have no interest in the qualifications that the students earn at Nevis Sixth Form College, it means that they have no interest in their futures. And shortchanged in that it is the mandate of the Ministry of Education to ensure that the students at the Nevis Sixth Form College receive the best education possible. And if they cannot simply achieve an associate's degree that is offered by CXC, then clearly they aren't getting the best education that can be given to them. And I think that is where it is good to stay off for this particular podcast, which focused on the Nevis Sixth Form College, with the broad heading being education on the island of Nevis. In the next podcast, there might be a continuation of this topic or a focus on another issue. Until then, it has been a pleasure. Thank you very much.